And we are live. It happened. It worked. All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Webinar Wednesday to you. As always, you guys are great. Already hopping in and saying where you're from. So let's do some shout outs. Sun Shower, first comment, you win. You're from Sedona, Arizona. Gina says hello. Katie's in Charlotte. Oh, little close to where I am, where we are right now. So we're in Raleigh. Let's see. Danielle from Virginia. James, hi. We're in North Carolina too. Ohio, Oregon, Oklahoma City, Arkansas, Richmond, Sarasota, Switzerland. Nice. And Canada. Hi. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. You can keep telling us where you're from if you'd like. I'm also interested in, hey, Marge. I'm also interested in knowing who of you have already started a business. And if you have a business, drop in what industry you're in or what kind of business you have, because as you hopefully know at this point, we are going to be talking about how a book should be your new business card this year. So if you don't know what that means, then you are at the right place or in the right place. We're going to go over that today. But we're going to be talking about how to grow your business through writing a book and some of the benefits of doing that process and what that can look like for you. So before we get started, I will let you know that we're going to do questions at the end. I'm going to be sharing my screen for the presentation. So if you have any questions, Lauren, my co-pilot here, will be able to grab those and ask them in the moment. But if you want to wait till the end, we will have some time. We will have some time to look at those. So let's see. Danielle's interested in starting a business. That's good. You're in the right place. Embrace the universe, astrology, teaching, and empowerment. Gail, that's a good one. I love that. So let's see who else, who you're just beginning, don't know, books plus affiliate marketing. All this sounds great. And I think the content that we have today can help. So without further ado, last thing I'll mention, everyone who is registered will get a recording of the webinar today. So if you joined late or you have to leave early, you will get an email with the recording. We will also post this to our YouTube channel afterwards. So if you have to stop, start, jump out, jump in, we got you. All right, and now we're going to get started. So I am going to share my screen and dive right into it. Right here with these buttons that say share your screen. Yes, share.
In there, it's great.
I'm happy. Wow, look at that. How meta. I know. This is a little bit trippy for the beginning. All right, so as promised, as I said, this presentation is why your book should be your new business card. We've got Business Sunglasses Cat with us, so we know it's going to be a good presentation. All right, so a little bit to get started. I always like to remind folks or inform folks of who we are, who is talking to you today. And we are Lulu. Lulu is a real word. It's not just something fun to say or leggings. It means a remarkable person, object, or idea. We were founded in 2002 by Bob Young, and fun fact, next week we will be celebrating our 20th anniversary, our 20th birthday. So if you're not following us on social media or on our email list, then go ahead and sign up. We've got a lot of great content planned for next week. Our platform is free to use. We published over 3.1 million books. That is a lot of books, and paid out over $117 million in author revenues. So that's a lot of money as well. So our mission is that we are dedicated to making the world a better place, one book at a time, through sustainable practices, innovative print-on-demand products, and a commitment to excellent service. All right, last little piece of this about us, our little bio, is that Lulu is a certified B Corp. If you're not familiar with B Corps, it's a fantastic community of for-profit companies that are making a commitment to try to do business better and make the world a better place through sustainable business practices, accountability, and transparency. So again, if you're not familiar with the B Corp movement, then I highly recommend you taking a look. We are proud to be a part of it. All right, so who are we? I am Chelsea Bennett. That is my cat, Batman Bennett. He was not harmed in the making of that picture. And I am Lulu's brand engagement manager.
I'm Lauren Vasallo. I am our social media manager, and I absolutely did not bribe Chelsea in any way, shape, or form to plug our social platforms a couple of minutes ago.
No, you did not, but you can later. I will accept. All right, so Why should my book be my new business card? This is the question that we are here to answer today. And we're going to walk you through how to do it, why to do it, and some great examples at the end. But just to kind of get you started, in the time where we were going to conferences a lot, or maybe you still are, we're getting back to it, which is great. But, you go to these conferences or you go to a business meeting, you go to an event, and you get inundated with business cards. Everyone has a business card that they want to hand out, they want to give you, and that's fantastic. I mean, it's definitely a great way to leave a little breadcrumb, give your information, and it's compact, so those things are all really nice. But how many of you, when you go back, you get home from the conference, you get back from the meeting or the event, how many of you are really looking through those business cards? And how many of you are really following up? Maybe you are, and that's great. But a lot of times, and I've seen this at events that I've gone to, you walk past a trash can and there's a ton of business cards in there. A ton of business cards or flyers or those kinds of things that you don't want to take because of clutter, or they get lost, or you use that business card to throw your chewing gum away later. So there's a lot of opportunities for the business card to fall through the cracks. But who's going to throw away a book? Only a heartless monster would throw away a book, hopefully. But I think it kind of improves your staying power and your ability to stay relevant and stay top of mind for that potential client, potential investor, potential reader. All of these options and opportunities can come to you through using your book as a business card instead of that traditional little cardboard cutout. So why replace your business cards with a book? So as I mentioned, probably less likely to be thrown away or used as, something to hold gum in. But also you can make an impression. So when you are able to write a book and hand that out, it says something about you. It says that you've invested in yourself. I mean, for those of you who are here that have already written a book, you know how hard that is, the process, and that it takes a lot of effort and intentionality. For those of you who said that you started a business or interested in starting a business, you already know that that's a really difficult process. And you as a consumer, when you want to find a new brand to work with or find a new product, you want it to look nice. You want to have some sort of indicators that the people behind that business or product care about it and have invested in it. And that encourages you and makes you feel confident to invest in it as well. So writing a book, first and foremost, just makes an impression. I think it elevates you above those in your field who may not have taken the time to do that. It also establishes credibility. So it's always nice to have author on your resume or be able to write that in your bio. But being able to say that you took the time to research and collect information on a specific topic or really relevant to your business is already a way that's going to establish some credibility for you. It also will demonstrate your expertise. Obviously, if you are in a situation where you're trying to book a speaking engagement and you're up against 3 other people in your field, being able to say, hey, I think I'm most qualified because I literally wrote the book on blank. It's really going to put you head and shoulders above the other folks that maybe haven't written a book, because again, you're a content expert now. You know this so well, you literally wrote a book on it. And when you publish professionally, then again, that will just help to elevate that and make that impression, establish the credibility, and demonstrate your expertise in that field. Also, lead generation. So you can think about, when you think about how you use a business card, you obviously give those out for free. And a lot of folks that we see writing books to support their business will do that with the idea and with the thought that they'll be giving those out for free. Now, of course, we also see people who write books and sell them and use them as a revenue generator, which is great. You can see passive income is the last bullet point I've got here. But if you think about, something to leave behind and something to get the interest of your audience, let them know a little bit about you. Say you sell consulting services, or, you're doing marketing for someone, or you hope to entice clients to come and pay you for a larger package of a service. Giving them a book to kind of let them feel out on their own. Do you know what you're talking about? Do you have good points? Are you giving good advice? And can they get more? And that's a really good way to kind of whet their palate or get them interested in your content and the way that you speak on the subject, and kind of get them in the door for other opportunities, as I said, such as consulting or other services you might be providing. Last but definitely not least is passive income. So a great way to have, when you write a book, you have it up one time and you can sell it forever. So we see people who published a book years ago, maybe they'll update it every couple years. It's always available on their website. It's always available for sale. So this can work as something that will generate passive income for you. It's always available around the clock, 24/7. This book is available for people to purchase. And that can be just a really nice way to just keep that passive income coming in while you work on other projects. And then shout out to Ron Burgundy. Don't act like you're not impressed. When you tell someone you wrote a book on something, they're impressed, of course. If you did a good job, which I'm sure you all will. All right. So you know why you might want to replace your business card with a book, but what opportunities can that give you? So it already touched on speaking opportunities a little bit. A lot of times when you want to go for a speaking opportunity or there's something available, saying, I wrote the book on this, I'm a subject matter expert, can really help to elevate you, above other folks that they may be considering for that opportunity. And not only that, but if you book a speaking opportunity, many times whoever is organizing that event will want to buy the books for all the attendees. So you can get not only a speaker fee, sometimes, or maybe you'll speak for free, but they'll buy a couple boxes of your books. So that can be a nice way to add some revenue and opportunities there. Also, when you do speaking events, we can call your book a back of the room book, which means you go and speak on this topic that you know so well. And then you say, hey, if you want to learn more, that I wasn't able to fit in this keynote, please come see me and you can buy my book today. Another good way to share the book and to get people interested in you and your brand. So also podcast. So I put this on here and I mean it in two different ways. So obviously, speaking opportunities, that can look a lot of different ways. So maybe you write this book and then now you're able to pitch to podcasts that are relevant to your target audience or your industry or expertise and say, hey, I wrote this book. I would love to give an overview or drill into one of the chapters that I think would be really relevant to your audience. Will you host me on your show? So a lot of podcasts look for, did you publish a book as a key indicator that they would like to have you on the show or that you have something valuable to talk about. So that's a good avenue there. Alternatively, your book could be a launching point for your podcast. So maybe you wrote a book on health and fitness or yoga practices or things like that. And then you want to create a podcast that is relevant to not only yoga, but you can expand into other holistic practices to make everything in your life a little bit healthier and a little bit better for your longevity. Likewise, a YouTube channel. So very similar to podcast, writing your book can kind of help you bridge that gap or have some leverage when you approach YouTube channels and say, hey, would you like to interview me or can we collaborate on a project or would you like to participate in some influencer marketing that I have? Or if you want to start your own YouTube channel and again, say, hey, I've written a book about healthy and holistic living, and I would love to kind of share more information about this and expound on some of these topics or reach new topics and expand on those through a YouTube channel. So a lot of opportunities there as well. And then last but not least, online or in-person courses. So this is something we see a lot of folks doing on Lulu and using their book on Lulu to bundle with a set of courses. And we'll talk about some of those real world examples later today. But one that comes to mind is someone who was writing about financial literacy. They had a boot camp of how to, get on track with your finances, get out of debt, create some sustainable wealth for yourself. And this is a course. And they also had what they called a private banking blueprint, and they bundle these together. So that's a lot of added value. People at times you really want that tactile, that tangible product that might go with an online course. So we're going to talk in a minute about the different ways that your book can take shape and what it might look like. But these are just a couple things a very short list of ideas of things that your book can lead to, which is always a good way to think about it. So I just want to end this right here with the note saying, a lot of folks will think, yeah, I'm going to write this book, I'm going to make a ton of money off of it, or I see my book as a revenue generator, and it absolutely can be. But I think the better question is, what opportunities can I get from writing this book? And this is just a short list of those opportunities. Oh, whoa. Pretend you didn't see that next one.
You're giving away spoilers. What are you doing
here?
So I did want to talk a little bit about some of the ideas that you can use for what kind of books you can create. Because I know a lot of people, when you say self-publishing or when you think about the idea of publishing your own book, people are immediately kind of like, oh, well, I don't want to write a whole book. That's a lot to do. There's a lot of work there. I'm publishing a whole book. I have to write a whole book. And not necessarily, especially those of you that already have some kind of platform of your own, whether it's a YouTube channel or a blog or maybe even a Twitter account, Instagram, something like that, or your own business. You might already have a lot of the content that could help you shape a book or a similar product into something that you can use as your business card. So just a couple of examples here that we wanted to share with y'all. Popular blog posts, we see all the time things like food bloggers that will then turn their top 25 recipes that are the most popular recipes on their food blog and publish them as a cookbook and create a cookbook. And it's a great way to monetize their brand. So now they've got that passive revenue coming through. And also, you get to say you're a published cookbook author at that point, which is pretty nifty. Also for obviously examples like this with the webinar, we have a lot of expertise and information to share with everyone, whether it's in this webinar or any of our other webinars. And some people don't like watching videos. Some people want their information delivered in a different way. If you've already created and curated all the information to create a webinar, it would be pretty easy to just take that information and reformat it into a book. Also think about the fact that, when you're using a book, when we're talking about a book as a business card, it doesn't have to be a 300-page extensive info dump. It can be a simple chapbook and, just a small sampling of your expertise and just kind of help people get the idea of what you know more about and what they can learn from you. So something like a webinar, turning that into a book could be great. Same thing with articles, similar as a blog post with articles and white papers. If you've got some content that you've posted online, whether it's a longer piece, something like a thesis or something like that, or, shorter white papers, articles, blog posts, op-eds, anything like that, publish one, publish all of them, put a little essay collection together, something like that. You've got then, instead of a resume, instead of handing somebody a folder, you've got a beautifully bound book that you can hand to people. That's already a leg up on the competition at that point, right? You've got a book. Everyone else has a thumb drive with a couple of files on it. You've got a book. Social media posts, that can be anything. Obviously, I'm gonna encourage you to have a social media platform in any capacity that you can. But for some people, it's actually going to go the other way around. They're not using their social media platform to market their book. They are turning their social media platform into a book. We've seen examples ranging from everything from people that have popular Twitter accounts that will then publish a little book that has like their most popular tweets in it. And that's as simple as a single graphic per page of a popular tweet per book. And doing that. We've also seen some really awesome TikTok creators that have found a lot of success with videos on TikTok and have translated those videos into book form and are now selling them. And they're really making a name for themselves using that platform and using the book that they're selling. Let's see what else. Photos and artwork. Obviously, if you're a photographer, if you're an artist, if you're the kind of person that wants a visual representation of your work, you could show somebody an iPad with your photos on it, but why not show them a beautiful hardcover coffee table book with a curated selection of your photos on it? Could be beautiful, could be a great way to get new business. Inspirational quotes. Sounds like a great concept. That could be really fun to make for family. I'm giving away an insider secret here, probably. I'll get in trouble for this, but we as a team, the marketing team at Lulu, we publish a book of quotes every year. We take all of our favorite out of context quotes from our team, from our brainstorming sessions for how we can create new content and share new information. And we publish it as a fun little book for all of us at the end of the year. And it's probably like the most fun that we have reading all year because it's so much fun to see this little gift of quotes and ideas and things that we thought about throughout the year and then completely forgot about. So that could be a great way to kind of let people know who you are as a brand. If you're a brand that's doing, I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, but somebody mentioned earlier that their business was astrology teaching and empowerment. That sounds like a great opportunity to put together a little quote book. It doesn't have to be a long thing, it doesn't have to be a big thing, but just a little uplifting quote book. Also, if you want to do that, maybe also throw in there, put it in a notebook, make a guided journal. That's a great, we'll talk a little bit more about no low content publishing later, I think, but You know, if you want to give somebody a functional business card like a book, consider a notebook. We've done that before for conferences, and they always turn out to be very popular. People love a notebook, especially writers. People love a notebook, you know, and you can definitely take a notebook, do mostly blank pages on the inside, and then intersperse occasional inspirational quotes that have to do with your brand. People will use that notebook and they will think of your brand in the future when they're using that notebook. Great opportunity. Also, not going to break the bank with something like that. So that's a great thing to do if you're going to a conference or a marketing event that you want to hand something out, hand some swag out. Keep that idea for the future. We've also got, you know, how-to guides, workbooks, and manuals or handbooks. You know, I'm going to bundle all those together because they really all come to the same point at the end. If you've got something that you're trying to teach people, a book is the best tool that you can give them to help with that. Whether it's something like you're doing an online course and you want to provide them with a workbook that they can interact with the course as you're teaching it. If you've got some fill in the blank sections, some pages for note taking, some you know, tests at the end of the course, whatever it is, space for people to kind of keep track of all of your stuff. They'll have this beautiful notebook at the end of it that's got all the information that they learned from you that they can refer back to in the future, and they'll remember you. They'll remember your brand. They'll remember the course that they took. They'll remember that you were the expert that taught them this. And the next time that they're looking for an educator in the same field, your name might be the first one that comes to mind because they remember that book, that workbook, that manual, that handbook, whatever it was that you handed them. And I'm sure there are a ton of other ideas too. I mean, we could keep going for days on this. I spend a lot of time in our bookstore. I've seen a lot of really brilliant and unique ideas from different people. And I've seen a lot of ideas in the chat that people are saying right now that just sound like great opportunities for your personal businesses and how you could turn that into a book.
Yeah, and I think I'll add here, so I made a mistake and I put photos and artwork twice. It's not because we do love photos and artwork, but I think one of those is supposed to be like no content publishing that Lauren had mentioned. And so if you aren't familiar with what that is, it just means nothing. It means that you're essentially just making maybe a cover. Well, not maybe, you are making a cover and then maybe just a front page of like, hey, here's my business. Here's where you can contact me. And then the rest is blank. So at Lulu, we make these all the time. We make them for to have in the office, to give out to visitors or people who maybe contribute to our blog. We also make these for every event that we go to. It's such a great way to hand something out that is useful. I mean, who doesn't want a blank notebook? I feel like every time I get a blank notebook, then it's just like, it's like the start of a new year. It's like all the hope and opportunities are presented to you nicely bound. So we always love to have those to give out because, again, people for the most part aren't going to throw out a whole notebook, and it just lets them do whatever they want with it. But still, they're seeing your branding every day or every time they use that notebook. And hopefully when the time comes and they need your service, you'll come to mind. You'll be front of mind, and they'll reach out to you for maybe some sort of a connection on down the road. I also wanted to touch on, so for some of the how-to guides, I know that someone in the chat had mentioned doing something about affiliate marketing, perhaps in books. So a how-to guide, how do you go about affiliate marketing? What is influencer marketing, or how would you do that? So that could be really useful. We could also see that as maybe a free ebook download or something like that is another way to think about this. Also, you know, for Lulu, we were all tasked with publishing a book. And when I thought about doing that, and I was like, gosh, you know, I have to write a book, and what will it be about? And it occurred to me that I have all the content that I need to put together a guide on how to successfully self-publish. So again, you know, when you think about the idea of writing a book, it can be intimidating. It is a lot to take on, especially if at the end of the day, you want to have something that looks really well done and is professional. But don't get inundated with thinking you have to start, you know, recreate the wheel or start from scratch, because the chances are, especially if you've already started a business or you're working on starting your business, you already have the content that you need. It's really just about packaging it in the right way to share and attract potential readers and customers.
You might also find that there's a product that you're already selling in your bookstore, or not in your bookstore, in your store, on your website, that a book would be a great supplemental addition to. That there's all kinds of examples. I know there's one author whose book I've come across on Lulu recently that she actually produced a tarot deck. She did a beautifully illustrated tarot deck that she was selling on her website, and then decided that, you know, in addition to that deck of cards, she put together a handbook for interpreting them. For, you know, this is what each of these cards symbolizes to me. This is why I chose the art on them, and this is how you can read them. So now she's got this beautiful deck of cards that are for sale on her website. And then if people need additional information, she's also got that book right next to it that people go ahead and buy that book too.
Yes. Yeah. And that is a beautiful book. I think it's called The Illuminated Tarot.
Yeah. Something like that.
I think. Yeah. Really, so yeah, if you're interested in any of that, check her out, because the artwork is fantastic. And yeah, great example, Lauren. Thank you. All right, so we've told you why you might want to write a book for your business. We've told you what can come of that if you do it. And we told you some examples of what shape your book could take, what form it could be in. I also want to add to that calendars. We didn't mention that, but we see a lot of nonprofits or animal shelters, pet influencers that make calendars towards the end of the year. And that can be a great way to boost sales and revenue in Q4 or even Q1 of the following year. And again, stay top of mind. I mean, if you give out calendars to your followers or fans or clients, then, you know, every time they flip that page, they're thinking of you. You can even put in events that you have going on, or any dates that are really pertinent to your business and what you're doing. So calendars is another thing to think about. Another sort of low lift. I mean, if you have 12, 14 photos, then you can get in and out the door pretty quickly. But I'm not encouraging anyone to just do a flim flam shim sham job, but just a thought. Okay, so now let's talk about some real world examples. Yeah, again, no animals were hurt in the making of this PowerPoint. Okay, so first up, the Speaker Sisterhood. So Angela Lasser is an award-winning speaker. You can see her bio there. She's obviously got some pretty impressive credentials, but her whole business is around encouraging people to find their voice, to speak up, to start working on their speaking career and get in front of people, to not only empower themselves through sharing their stories and using their what they've been through to help other people, but also help them empower their audience and folks who have been through what they've been through or can glean from their knowledge, or, you know, anything that they can do to use their voice to help others. That's basically the crux of what she's working on, which is very admirable. So the Speaker Sisterhood, again, is her platform and her company. And this book that she put out, I mean, I love it. It's beautiful. It's also really compact, which I think is a really play around with templates and sizes. So when you think about books, you know, it doesn't have to be an 8.5 by 11 textbook that you're trying to throw at people as they walk by. It can be something really small and compact that is compelling, and someone can just put in their pocket or in their purse or bag. That's not going to be obtrusive and, like, you know, a 500-page tome that they have to dig through to find out that you're a consultant. So something like this is great because you can reach people who may not be going to her website, who may not be aware of it, but come across this book maybe just by searching, how can I do a better job of speaking up, or how can I, lose my fear of public speaking? Come across this book, then are led to the Speaker Sisterhood, are led to Angela and the other work that she's done, and it can be a really nice funnel for your business. So again, The Secret Life of Speaking Up prequel is her book that she's put on Lulu. So obviously, as the title indicates, she's written other books on the topic of speaking, but this is a great introduction to anyone who may think, you know, I might be interested in joining the Speaker Sisterhood, or I might be interested in working with Angela, but I'm not sure yet. So let me take a look at her previous work and see if this is a really good investment and if it makes sense for me. So this book, which is reasonably priced, and again, you can get it on Lulu, is a great way for her to share some of her expertise with people, make revenue for her business. She published this actually, I think, in 2018. So again, put it up one time and it's generating, additional revenue, passive income for her business, and allowing her to reach people that she can't reach or wouldn't be able to through other means. So again, people who aren't coming to her website or might be sort of outside her sphere, she can still reach them by having this book up and hitting those keywords that people might be searching for when they're looking for help with public speaking. So a couple other things I want to point out here is this book is beautifully done. It's a unique size. And obviously she spent a lot of time on the design part of it. So again, I think that this is, everyone here may already know this or have considered this, but this book, if you want it to be a representation of your business, it has to look good. It has to be elevated. It can't just be, slapped together in Microsoft Paint for your cover, and then you just created a Word doc with, no formatting, and that's the interior. You need to remember that if you are really intending this to be something that you can use for lead generation, to book speaking opportunities, to boost your brand and grow your business, it has to be at that level of quality of everything else you're doing in your business. And so this book by Angela, I think, is a perfect representation of that. She obviously spent a lot of time on it, and it really shows. All right, so next up, so this is Rainey Howard. Her website, her business is Real Love Exists. So as you can see, she's a prosperity coach, an entrepreneur, and a relationship author. So here are 2 of her books that she's published. She's published several, but she does coaching. And if you go to her website, you can see all of her books. And again, she uses them as a lead generator. So if you buy her books and you love what she's doing, the chances are pretty good that you'll be interested in getting coached by her. Because as you grow and develop yourself as a professional, your expertise grows, your knowledge base grows, your resources that you're able to provide folks grow as well. So again, she wrote these books. I think that these are at least a year old, maybe a little bit older. So by creating that book, again, as a hook to get people in the door or interested in your content and familiar with the way that you share content and your tone, then, they're more likely to contact you for other information. Have you written any other books? Do you have anything else that I can purchase to learn more about this topic? So I think that Rainey does a wonderful job about this. Her branding is great. Again, she does really well with her book covers and the design of everything. On her website, her books are served up immediately. You can see everything that she's written. So again, using these as a way to get people in the door, a low lift way for people to interact with your content and get used to your information and vet you, right? I mean, when you're going to invest in yourself to learn any of these things, so if you want to hire a prosperity coach or a relationship coach, then you want to know that they know what they're talking about. So buying the book is a great way to do that. Low risk, high reward. And then when you're more interested in it, then these folks can come back and reach out to you for coaching opportunities or book more services through you. So another thing to think about here is as you're creating the book, think about how you can incorporate a call to action. So one way to do that might be, we've seen authors that at the end of the book or even at the beginning, follow me on social media. Here are my social media handles. Or if you like this book, when you're done with it, share it with a friend, sign up for my email list, book your coaching call here. Any of these things, it could be lead magnets. They're like, hey, thank you for finishing this book. Here's a little code that you can get a free hour of coaching or book a free consultation with me or something like that. So again, really going back to that, what opportunities can your book get for you and not, the book is the ends. It's really the means to the ends and not the ends. So just a couple other thoughts about how you can use your book to really grow your business and entice people to interact with you once they finish the book.
I think it's really also really neat before we move on, for Rainey's books in particular, something like that is directly supporting her business. One of the really big perks of self-publishing is that you can update that book immediately. So if she, for example, her You Are Enough book, which I do think is a year or two old now at this point, if she decides that she wants to add a chapter later, or she has some additional insight that she wants to share, or she wants to update something that she has done better or done differently since writing the book, she doesn't have to rewrite the entire book and republish the entire book and go through all the various hoops that you would have to jump through to get a revised edition of a book published in the traditional publishing world. She can just update the copy that exists on Lulu, and the next copy that is printed and sold will be sold and printed with the updated text in it. So you can keep that content on your site. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. If you're using a book to support your business, you can have this content that stays relevant and stays up to date as often as you are interested in, willing, and updating it.
That is so true and a great point. And I will say really quickly, just to piggyback on that, Lauren, is another thing that is really great about using print on demand or self-publishing for your business book is print on demand. You can buy one copy. I mean, the potential investment is much lower than, maybe going a different publishing route where you have to buy thousands of books or you have to front some sort of cost. So as you're thinking about this in terms of how this would fit into your business plan, we would encourage you to, and there's a Lulu University YouTube video about this, about building your publishing dream team, we call it. But, budgeting for an editor, someone to format, cover design, these things, and then buying, setting up your book, that can be a very approachable investment that you can make where you're not out thousands of dollars for something. And again, with print on demand, you can order as many copies as you need, order one proof copy. Once it's good to go, make it available for sale. And then another thing that Lauren mentioned was just about how easy it is to revise your content and keep it updated, which is very powerful in, the 24-hour news cycle world that we live in. Also, you can get your book to market really quickly. So if you're in an industry that is rapidly changing and evolving, then you can make these changes or put out new editions and publish them, as soon as they're ready to go. So you don't have to wait for any gatekeepers or wait for a publisher to vet the book. And, 12 to 24 months is typically the traditional publishing timeline. So again, for a business book and for reaching your audience and growing your business, self-publishing and, backed by the power of print on demand can be a huge asset to getting relevant content out on a regular basis. So thank you for bringing that up, Lauren.
Anytime. That's what I'm here for. I also wanted to point out a couple of books that I found that I thought were great examples of authors promoting their brand and their business with their books, starting with this one with Construction Scrum by Philippe Engineer Manriquez. This book is really cool. I found it randomly in our bookstore one day. And it's very clear that this author wanted to kind of share his experience and educate other people in his industry. The book is broken up into 3 parts, and the first part is all about his experience with using this particular construction style, this Scrum style that I don't know anything about because I work in publishing and not construction, but it sounds cool. So he wrote all about his own experience using it, and then he wrote a little bit more about Scrum in particular and this particular type of construction style and where it came from and the origin for it. And then he wrote the third section of it is kind of a workbook, handbook section for anybody that wants to try it themselves, that he's given people space to kind of take his ideas and the information that he's shared with them and used it. So it kind of serves the purpose of being a business card, an educational tool, and a handbook or workbook for other people that want to try it as well. He also went a step further, which I thought was really cool. And to get that particular, seal of approval on there that really makes you say, man, this guy really wrote the book on the subject. This Scrum construction style was invented by a particular person. Again, don't know anything about him, do not know about construction. But this guy's invented this style and is the CEO of this construction Scrum style. And that guy wrote the foreword for this book. So it's got that, just a little bit of extra in there that makes you think, wow, this Philippe is really the authority on this subject. He knows what he's talking about. And clearly, I was looking at his book. I was like, man, I'd like to know more about this guy. I went and visited his LinkedIn page. And sure enough, he's a construction Scrum expert and registered Scrum trainer, which I can tell because he literally wrote the book on the subject. So whatever he's doing, it's working for him. We've also got another great example. This is Lynette Greenfield. Lynette is a prolific Lulu author. She's published at least 10 books with us, if not more than that she's written on her own. The speed at which she writes is incredible. She puts at least one new book out every year. It's amazing to see. But she also realized over the course of her writing career that she had more to offer than just the stories that she was sharing. She's been self-publishing for years. She's been self-publishing with Lulu for years. And she realized that she had the expertise to share with other people. She could help other people that wanted to self-publish their books, that wanted to share their stories. So she wound up starting her own publishing imprint. She has launched Limelight Publishing. I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago now at this point. So she's got her own publishing imprint now that she helps authors through every step of the process of self-publishing their own book. And then, she wanted to support her business. She wanted to put in writing the fact that she knows what she's doing. She wanted to prove that she was an expert in the subject. So she wrote the book on it. And now she's got, in addition to her brand. If people check out her website and they say, oh, I don't know, the whole idea of self-publishing is that you can do it on your own. Maybe I don't really need your help. I'm not sure what, I'm not really sold on this. I don't know what I need. She can say, well, okay, before you want to commit to buying my services, why don't you buy my book and check out my book and see if that information is available to you or is interesting to you and it's something that you want my help with further. So now she's got this gateway into her business that is a very nicely put together and beautiful book cover, if I do say so myself. I absolutely love this book cover. This fantastic book that is a great marketing tool for her and a great brand awareness tool for her.
Yeah, she's she's like one of the few people who can create their own book cover and really nail it. I think she does all of her own book covers and they all look really fantastic. And yeah, just to kind of add a couple more notes about Lynette. So she started Limelight because she was just getting asked over and over again, how are you publishing? How do I do it? What is the process? And she realized that that could become a business. So another thing to think about, if you haven't really nailed down what your business is about or what your book could be about, thinking about what questions are you constantly being asked, or what, when you're in conversations with people, what are they constantly going to you for to get your opinion on or your thoughts on, that could lend itself to a book. And I was actually emailing with Lynette the other day, and she let me know that she, because of this book, she was able to work. She's from Australia or lives in Australia, and was able to create a partnership with some of the local schools to go and talk to them about publishing, which is really cool to be able to share, with younger generations what that's like to have your work published, and that is a realistic goal that you can aspire to. So again, just another example of, the book being the kind of launching pad for other opportunities for you, other conversations, other relationships. So Lynette, we'll never get tired of using her. She's a great example of this. Okay, so we are coming down to the end of our presentation. And in a minute, I will stop sharing my screen and we can answer questions. But before we do that, just wanted to draw your attention to some free sources that may help you along your journey. So the Lulu blog, we have a fantastic blog that is updated regularly by our resident blogger, Paul Hobday. So definitely check that out. We have topics ranging from marketing to e-commerce to cover design to, you name it. He also does great product reviews on writing tools and different platforms. So check that out. Our help center. So if you are already working with Lulu and you have any questions, our support team will be happy to help. You can reach them there. And then I mentioned this a couple of times, I think already, but Lulu University is our YouTube channel, or a series that we do on our YouTube channel. Again, we cover kind of everything that you would need to publish successfully on Lulu. We also have some great tutorials. And then this is also a place where we post our webinars. So take a look there, peruse, like, and subscribe if you see fit to do so. We would appreciate that. And also we have a webinars landing page. So I think that by the end of this week, we'll have it updated for our next webinar, which will be on February 16th. So I think a lot of you may be interested in this, but we also have a way for you to sell your books directly through your own website with some of our e-commerce plugins that we have. So if you're interested in using or selling your books through e-commerce, or what that might look like, you can join us on the 16th. We'll be talking about the why of e-commerce. So why it's important to sell direct, how to establish your brand through your e-commerce platform, what solutions are available to you, and some best practices as well. So again, you can bookmark this website. It's webinars.lulu.com. And usually, again, we'll have this updated with our upcoming webinars. So if you give us a couple of days, we'll update for our next one, and you can register there, or just keep an eye out for our emails. We're always sharing our webinars that are upcoming. Last but not least, how can we help you? We have all of our social icons there. You can follow us, interact with us in any of those platforms. Lauren has the keys of the castle there. So tweet at her, comment, like, subscribe, follow if you can. She will appreciate that. We are at lulu.com across platforms. And then you can see my email address, cbennett@lulu.com. If you need anything, if I can help you, please let me know. And without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing and we will take questions. All right, let's see. I don't know, Lauren, if you've seen it. We also, there's a tab here that says Q&A only. So if you have questions that you haven't dropped in, you can put them there and we will see them. I am just going to look through.
I lost it. I'm still looking for it, but I saw a question about what's the fee for using Lulu. There is no fee. We do not charge a fee to use our publishing services. You only have to pay for the price of the book. So the printing of the book is really what you're paying for. So if you don't have to pay an additional upfront fee to have access to our website, which includes all of our educational resources. So things like our webinars, our blog, our knowledge-based articles, our entire YouTube channel is all educational and tutorial videos and stuff like that. All of our resources that we create, that our team creates, and that our larger company creates to help authors self-publish, those are free. Those are available on our website at lulu.com.
Yes, yeah, we try to make as many free resources as possible. And if you exhaust them, let us know, because it's like a bottomless pit in a good way of information to help you along the way. So I see some questions coming in through the Q&A section from Phoenix. Let's see. So I see that you're asking about getting your book on the online store. And you also asked about getting your book featured on the Lulu store. So Phoenix, if you want to reach out to us, you can send me an email directly at cbennett@lulu.com. You can also email us at webinars with an S at lulu.com and just send us a link to your book. And we can review that and see if we're able to add it to our bookstore or our featured books. And that's, for anyone who's interested, you can send us an email. And Nancy is saying, does Lulu upload digital versions on other platforms? So essentially, any places where you want your book to show up, you would facilitate that on Lulu's platform. We do have what we call global distribution, which if your book is eligible, and that just means if it's the appropriate trim size or format, then you can enroll your book through global distribution and have it available on Amazon, Ingram, and Barnes & Noble. But we won't on our end upload it to digitally anywhere. You would trigger that. So we also have ebook distribution as well. So if there's somewhere that you'd like your book, then we can accommodate it through those channels. So I would just recommend looking at our site under, is it sales or distribution? There's a tab at our top nav that you can find there, and it'll tell you all of our information on how to sell your book.
And for Renee, your question about how do you update a book? If you're in the My Projects tab, once you've uploaded a book and created a book project in your account, when you're in the My Projects tab and you're looking at all of your different projects that you've created, you'll see buttons to the side. One of them will be revise for each individual product. So you can look, like I'm looking at a journal that I made last year. That was a 2021 journal. If I wanted to create the same journal but update it to be 2022, I can just hit that revise button and upload a new interior PDF file with the updated text that I want. And then rather than creating it as a new book project, it will just be an updated version of the existing project that I created.
Perfect. All right. In the Q&A, I see a question from Chantel. I publish in French. Can I use the platform? Absolutely. So we're a global company. We have 8 printers all around the world. I think we have one in France. So yes, you can use our platform, and you can also translate the page, I believe, to show in your language. So, that's I think you just need to log in and put where you are, and then we can change the text and how it displays. But yeah, absolutely. And for anyone who's listening who's interested in publishing in another language, you can absolutely do that. You just need to embed your fonts to make sure that our platform can ingest and accept the files. But yeah, we support global authors. We have an international audience. Thankful to have that. So we absolutely can support you in different languages other than the US. Or the US is not a language. English is. So obviously I'm great at it.
David, to your question, that's definitely something that we're working on. We've definitely brought it up before and are working on it. Our developers are doing their best to update the website constantly. We get weekly updates on things that they've changed on the website. So I'm sure that is an update that will roll out at some point or another, but know that we're definitely working on it.
Yes, absolutely. We've gotten that request before. And so, yeah, that would be amazing. Let's see. So Toy is saying, does Lulu sell samples of products? So all that we have available to buy are books. So if you mean samples of books, then what we would call that, or I think that, the comparable option would be a proof copy. So I mean, if you want to go in global distribution, we mandate that you have a proof copy so you can get it in your hands and review it. Especially for a business book. I mean, really for any book, but it doesn't matter how many times you've gone through it, how many editors you've had, how many beta readers. When you get it, there's probably going to be something that you want to change, or maybe some sort of problem or something that needs to be edited. So do yourself a favor, buy the proof copy, review it, and then make it available for sales. So this is also a great opportunity for you to check out our formats, play around with the configuration. So maybe you order one hardcover version, maybe you order a paperback, maybe you order a coil bound edition. If you're working on a workbook or manual, like we mentioned. So that would be my best bet, or my best answer for, do we sell sample products? We do have proof copies. And again, we're print on demand, so you can buy one and see how that works and then move on. Let's see. Okay, so Nancy is saying, how much does Lulu charge to create a link to purchase my book from my website? I'm also very excited about creating a notebook as well to accompany it. Your templates are great. Thank you for saying that, Nancy, and for the question. So we don't charge anything to create a link to purchase the book from the website. So if you wanted to, you could literally just hyperlink your sale page on Lulu and put it on your website. That costs nothing. You can absolutely do that, or create a buy button that links over to Lulu where people can purchase your book and check out. But as I mentioned, we also have some e-commerce solutions. So since you already have your own website, you might want to think about connecting with our app for Shopify, or using we'll have more e-commerce plugins coming very soon. So if you have your own website, connecting to our Shopify app, which is free, and then selling your book directly through your website is a great way to do that. You don't have to worry about inventory. The orders come through and are transmitted to Lulu to automate the print and fulfillment. So you don't have to worry about anything like that. We take care of everything on the back end. So that could be an option you might be interested in, Nancy. And I would, again, highly encourage you to keep an eye on our webinars because we will have another one this month about e-commerce and more information on that.
There's a question in the general chat from Celia about legal information. Celia, when it comes down to individual state details like that, I don't think that we get that granular with the information that we share on our site. But if you visit help.lulu.com, it is our knowledge base. It's a very extensive collection of articles, FAQs, and also options for contacting our support team if you don't find the answers that you're looking for there. I would definitely suggest searching those articles for more info on copyright and stuff like that.
I'm just grabbing the link. So I'll drop this in the Q&A. I'm going to put this in the general chat as well. So this is a link to our e-commerce and API, print API. So for those of you who are interested in a direct sales solution, and that just means you're selling your books directly to your readers, you're not going through Amazon or Lulu, you're able to sell the books right through your own website, keep your readers on your site for the transaction, and get data, transactional data from that, keep more revenue, all of those things. So if you're interested in that, lulu.com/sell on your site is where you can do that or find more information. Also on the sell tab on our top nav is where you can find our global distribution and information about our bookstore as well, if you aren't at the point where you want to sell through your own website.
Also another question in the chat, sorry, from Katie. Katie asked about shipping. Katie, unfortunately, there's really no way to answer that question because it's going to vary so dramatically. We have multiple different shipping options available. So, the first variable is going to be how much readers are paying for shipping. If they're paying for, ground shipping versus overnight shipping, there's going to be a big difference. Also, we are still very heavily experiencing the impacts of the pandemic on shipping times right now. I mean, everything is delayed everywhere across the board, not even just Lulu. The publishing industry as a whole is experiencing massive supply chain breakdowns. Anywhere you go, I mean, the traditional publishers too, book production times are delayed. I don't know if anyone saw the story recently, there was an entire shipment of cookbooks that fell into the ocean, and now these 2 books are being pushed back like 6 months later in the year because they don't have the materials to reprint those books now. So they have to wait for the supply to restock for them to reprint these books now because they lost them all. So it's really, I mean, there's a lot of variables that can impact the shipping time in terms of the moment of purchase to the readers having the book in hand. So unfortunately, we can't really get more specific than that.
How unlucky is that?
I know, right? Can you imagine if you were this author that was so excited to have your book come out and it's now at the bottom of the sea?
It's now in Davy Jones' locker. No one can get to it.
The mermaid's having a great time reading it, though.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, and also, so Katie, if you go on our site, there's a pricing tab. We have a pricing calculator. You can put in your book specifications, so the trim size, page count, things like that, and then put in the destination. So, I mean, again, it doesn't get super granular. You can just put in the country that it'll be shipping to, and we can give you shipping estimates. But as Lauren said, once the book leaves our print facilities, you know, we're at the mercy of, you know, whatever the carrier is, and hopefully they can stay on track. So those times I think are usually pretty reliable, but that would be the best estimate that we will be able to give at this point. Let's see, looking in the Q&A tab. I know, Pamela, you had asked kind of something similar when someone orders a book through Lulu. What's the turnaround time? So, you know, we print on demand, you know, the book is created as it's ordered. So we usually have a 3 to 5 day production time. I think right now, coming off the holidays, it might be closer to 5 to 8, or we're at that kind of 5-day window right now. But usually 3 to 5 business days is what you would expect for the turnaround, and then your additional shipping time, which we just kind of covered that. So hopefully that will, oh, and you just said, okay, Katie answered my question. So that was just extra for anyone who missed that part. They say, let's see. So Pamela's also asking, does Lulu support ebooks as well as hardcover printed books? We absolutely do. And, you know, another note here is we always recommend to authors to put your book in multiple formats, because as Lauren mentioned in our presentation, some people, you know, love reading online. Some people have a Kindle and they think that's great. Some people would rather have that tactile, you know, physical book in their hands and interact with that better. So either or both is what we recommend. Let's see. So Nick, I presume I could publish my theater scripts and Shakespeare adaptations through Lulu. You could. Your presumption is correct. You absolutely can do that.
And then there was in the chat, there was a question from Marcella too. We do not provide translation services, but we do have some partners that we recommend. If you visit, I will drop the link here for you. If you visit our website and our Hire Pros page, we have some professionals in the industry that we have vetted and highly recommend as different service providers for all different types of services, every step of the process. And if you scroll down on this page is getting long enough, we might need to put some links on here.
Yes.
If you scroll down, we do have we work with a company that we don't work with the company, but we recommend a company that we have suggested that people use in the past. This company, Soul. So I would recommend checking them out if you're looking to get translations done.
Yeah, and I will say, we actually just had an author who published a book and then wanted the Spanish translation and worked with Soul recently. This is within maybe the past month or two. And they just published the Spanish version and had a really good experience with them. So definitely reach out. I think that they do great work from what I've heard. So happy to have them on the partners page. Let's see. Okay, so looks like David maybe put a question and I missed it, but so thank you, Sunshower, for reposting. Looking forward to the webinar on selling through a website. I really hope the Lulu developers can make a simple script that link to a button on an independent website. So we do have an API as well, which is not a simple solution, but so for right now, and again, I will kind of tease out that we are working on making our e-commerce solutions more robust, and we will be launching a few more in the coming weeks and months. But for right now, I think if you have your own website and you want to sell through it, then, our app for Shopify is a great way to do that. Shopify has a couple of different subscription tiers. They usually have a 14 or 7-day free trial as well. So if you're interested in exploring this, you're not sure what you need, you can do a pretty low risk trial there. And then they also, I think their lowest tier is just literally a buy button. So you're just kind of using them for the checkout and the link to purchase the book. So I think that's $9.99 a month, possibly. Definitely check that out. And that might be a good solution for you until we can make something super simple that'll give you a buy button. So stay tuned for that. And thank you for that question, David, and the alley-oop from Sunshower.
Question from Pamela here about a webinar about the differences between Kindles and other e-readers. That's a really good question. I don't really see that being a webinar, but it could be an interesting blog post. Certainly wouldn't be opposed to exploring that a little bit as a blog post. I don't know if our blog master Paul is still around here, but if he is, let's jot that one down. That could be really interesting to explore. So good suggestion, Pamela. Thank you for that.
All right. Do we see any other? And also, I want to thank y'all for the kind comments and the shout outs for those of you who appreciate our templates. Yes, thank you. We work really hard on trying to make it easy to publish a book, or as easy as we can. And for those of you shouting out our support, we certainly appreciate that, and we'll let them know. We are a little bit over the hour. I will do a last call for questions if anyone has anything left. Again, thank you for registering, and a recording of this session will be sent out to everyone who registered. So if you join late, or hopped in early or late or leave, whatever I'm trying to say, you know what I mean, you will get the recording, the full recording that you'll be able to access, and will be on our YouTube channel as well. And let's see. Yes. So Sunshower, you'll send us a reminder for February 16th. Yes. And I believe in your webinar jam your webinar jam settings, you can also choose to auto subscribe to our webinars. So if you enable that, then I can just go ahead and enroll you in the next session, but it will be for February 16th. So we will start sharing information about that the week prior. So again, if you are not on our email list, go ahead and sign up. If you're not following us on social media, please do. And that's where you'll be able to hear of that as soon as it is available and as soon as that registration is set up. All right. I think that we are wrapping up. Yeah, Pamela, 26 seconds over the hour. I know. I hate to keep y'all. Hopefully nothing's pressing. So anyway, thank you so much to everyone. Thank you for joining us. Keep an eye out for our next webinar and what else we have coming on. And I think that this is it. Just making sure I've got everything. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Lauren, any closing thoughts, comments? No,
you said it all. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for all your questions and your chats. I may or may not have been taking notes on the Instagram accounts that were shared in here, so not sorry if I follow all of you.
And don't be sorry if you follow us back. So Thanks, everyone. Have an awesome Wednesday. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time. So bye, everybody.